All right, so to prep everything, I just painted my canvases black and I have them sitting on styrofoam cups so that the drippings go onto my wood and not get those stuck on my wood. So you want to make sure to rise them. So the first thing I'm going to do is mix my resin. So when I'm not using like a charcuterie board or something like that, and I'm just doing art, I get the cheapest resin possible. So I work with stuff that you can get at Michael's. When I'm working with food or kitchen items, I use safe products that you can eat off of. I'm just gonna mix my resin because it comes separate. So here is my resin. It comes in 2 bottles. And you want to mix them together for about 3 minutes. Make sure that you scrape the sides as you're mixing. Don't use power tools to mix resin like you might see on YouTube for large batches. It might be okay for a large batch, but it will ruin your resin if you do it with one of your small batches. So I prepped all my colors for this painting. I already poured my paint into all of my cups, and the ratio is 10% paint to however much resin you're going to use, because it will react and harden quickly. So be careful of that. So I'm just going to mix for about 3 minutes until it's all mixed in. It'll be completely clear with lots of tiny bubbles. During this process, at some point you will need a heat gun. You can use a torch. I do prefer a torch sometimes, but for this style, I prefer a heat gun. I like the way that it laces better. We're gonna do 2 pours on this though. We're going to let it set for a couple of hours and then come back and pour some waves. I'm not doing a beach, I'm doing more like a rainbow, but I still want some of those wave laces in my art. So great, it looks like I'm at a clear consistency, which is great. So the first color I'm gonna do is black, and that's just gonna double coat these paintings. So I'm going to pour down my first layer of resin, and always make sure you've got gloves on. It's so sticky, it's hard to get off. It won't come off of anything except your skin. So I am going to just use my gloves to spread this resin. It's just the easiest, quickest way. And my gloves are intended to get messy anyway. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix all of my other colors and pour them. I'm just using a little of each color. I know that I didn't need a lot of each one because it's just going to be one simple line. So I used very little acrylic paint as well. Okay, So each cup, I'm just going to mix a little bit of. I wanted to add a little bit of gray into my black, so I'm going to do that. And then I'll blend that in with my glove. I'm trying to work kind of fast because resin hardens quickly. Okay, so I'm just going to mix that with my glove. I think that'll give it a really cool effect when I add fire or heat. Because this is all going to be really bright and rainbow-like. So, all right, now I'm just going to go ahead and mix all of my resin that's in my cups. I'm actually going to mix and pour each one at a time, just so they don't start to harden on me faster than they normally would. Okay, so now I'm going to heat torch it, heat gun it. I'm going to get all these bubbles out. Super, super important step. Make sure to get all those bubbles. And then I'm going to go over and I'm going to hold some heat there. And I'm gonna blend some of those colors and hopefully get a little bit of a cool little lacing on there too. Careful not to get too close like I just did. It happens. So that's pretty much it for that. The only thing is we'll wait for this to dry and then I'll put on a top layer of clear and white. Okay, so everything's dried and I'm about to pour my second layer of resin. I'm gonna do some white lacing over this. Also, my resin has some small dents in it, and the reason why is because I may have not laid down enough resin or I heated it too long. So I would have put another layer of resin on this anyway, but I already pre-mixed my resin, so I'm just gonna pour in a little bit of white, just enough to make some waves on there. I don't need too much of that, and then hopefully I've got enough for these two here. Okay, and then I'm just gonna smear this out with my glove like I did last time. Try to get it as even as possible. The heat helps make everything even, so I don't worry too much. The reason we're putting the clear down again, so let's say my painting did not have any denting in it, and I didn't really need a second coat of clear. This step is really important if you want lacing in your waves. It thins out the white, and that's kind of the trick to getting nice lacing, is to thin out whatever color you want to lace with a bottom coat. Okay. So now I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to go ahead and do this part before I lay my white down. Just because I want it to be a little warmed up when I lay down my lace. When you warm it up a little bit, it makes it easier to get a nicer lacing than if you pour them both at the same time. At least that's what I've noticed. So I'm just gonna mix my white really quick. I knew that I was going to work really quickly with this, so I added more white paint than I know I should have, but I wanted a richer white color. If you're not working fast, that's a really bad idea because the ratio should be a 10% ratio, and that's probably much more than what I did. So I'm just gonna pour my lace or my white down. I don't really know how I want it yet, but I'll figure it out as I go. And for this, I do not like to use a torch. I have found that you get better lacing when you use a heat gun. If you're working on a smaller surface, that is so hard, but it's just what I found to be the best way. All right, let's see how this goes. So I'm gonna either blow in one direction or the other or down the middle. I'll do a couple of both so you can see the difference. If you want, you can move them around a little bit to see if the lacing will get any bigger, but I would just be careful with that because my lacing is so pretty. I don't want to do too much. Plus, right now mine are stuck to my cups. I actually really am digging the way that these came out. Yeah, I like that. So you guys, these are gonna dry, and that's pretty much it. If you have any other questions, let me know. I am happy to help as I can. I'm all self-taught, you know, so I'll help the best that I can, but good luck on your endeavors. I hope I see some really beautiful and creative things from you. And yeah, I'm excited to see what you produce. Bye.